Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
See this, like this is the path of the saints, yeah? And what this means is that we're trying. So all the saints, like take a saint like Jesus, Muhammad, the Guru, all the people, Kabirji, Fariji, they all walk this path. So for us, it's not about distinguishing between people of different religions, right?
Right. Yeah.
The truth is everywhere, right? But so this is like, so the path of the saints is to leave these things and go towards these things. And you know how it's like down instead of going up? You'd assume everybody's like going up, right?
It's like
the way is down because of humility, right?
Yeah.
So lust, anger, greed, attachment, and pride, we leave those and then embrace truth, contentment, compassion, righteousness, forgiveness.
Interesting.
Yeah. So this is, so it's kind of like let's say the brain has like, there's 4 parts of it, right? There's the mind, what the mind thinks about. Then there's like the wisdom the mind relates to. So like your highest level of wisdom, right?
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's like your
like subconsciousness almost, or like
it's not. No, it's not subconscious because it's like consciously. Okay, let me give you an example, right?
Yeah.
So, what would be the best person? Give me an example of the best person ever.
the best person.
Like that's just an amazing.
Like, away from like enlightened
Okay.
beings.
Are there, imagine like, are there times when you've thought, oh, I could have done better? Oh, you know, why did I let myself down? I should have done that, but I didn't because I had like weakness inside me, whatever. I just felt temptation or whatever that messed me up.
So
I just gave in. So the bit that you're aiming for, like the ideal, that's like your mat, like the highest mat, we call it mat. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have inside you there is a consciousness which is built up from your background, your teachings, what you've taken in, which teaches you what is the thing you should aim for.
So that's the wisdom.
Yeah, the wisdom.
Okay.
So we call that mat, and basically what Guru teaches, Guru's mat. So the Guru's mat is the highest wisdom for us. Like he's teaching the highest wisdom. So so if you follow your mind's wisdom, you end up going the wrong way. But if you follow the Guru's wisdom, you go the right way. So you have to change the consciousness inside your mind, change your mind to that it now refers to the Guru's wisdom rather than to your own wisdom.
Right.
So your ideal inside you, right? So the Guru's trying to change the ideal, so you refer to it all the time. So it's like, you know, like Christians have said, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Exactly.
Like
so what would the Guru do?
Every religion is kind of based
You have your aim, right?
like
Yes.
that.
So you build your ideal. And the Guru's teachings are trying to make you to have that ideal, like equality, justice, compassion, caring, giving, yeah?
But like, what if it's a natural wisdom for you? Like, does that ever?
No, some people are born with a less, with a mat that's closer down here than up there.
Interesting.
Right?
Okay.
So some people naturally, because of their previous lives, because we believe in reincarnation, because their previous lives they were good people. So this time they came with good karma. They naturally were predestined, they were predisposed to do good. Let's put it that way.
Right. Okay.
Because of their blessings of their past life. They were good people.
Right.
So this time, instead of falling like some people like myself before I was 21, I was predisposed to do bad stuff.
Oh.
I just loved just messing around and doing the wrong thing. I needed the Guru. I needed the Guru to tell me, you know what, this is what you should be aiming for. And it took a long time for me to actually start listening to that. But inside you, there's this idea, right? So that's the mat. And also we believe that there is a Buddha, which is your personal level of wisdom.
Okay.
So some people have the ideal, then they don't have the wisdom to actually follow the ideal.
Oh, I see.
So wisdom's separate from the ideal.
Wow.
It's your level, personal wisdom.
Yeah.
Like, so when you've like, okay, you know when you've fallen down many times, then finally you're like, you know, I should do the right thing.
Yeah.
So the right thing is there. Then you have you've fallen, you start, I should follow, right?
Yeah.
So you got your Buddha, and your Buddha can also be when you meditate. So as you meditate more and more, and you have those experiences of the divine, then your wisdom grows because you start to have that spiritual wisdom.
Interesting.
Because we believe in meditation, right? They talk to you about that, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so this right here, you meditate. And it's like an experiential faith. So we're not trying to get people to believe in something, we're trying to get people to actually experience God.
It.
Yeah, and how can you fault the experience? Like you studied...
Well, that's why it's like I guess that's how I separate it, is like your personal experience is always
personal
be
wisdom.
different.
Your personal wisdom, whether it's spiritual or from the outside world,
right.
that's going to be grown, right? So the Guru is saying... Yeah, so the Guru is saying, look, grow that wisdom, grow that personal wisdom, grow that spiritual wisdom inside you, and then use the Guru's teachings, and then use the practice, your spiritual practice, to gain that wisdom. So there's this first is your mind.
To connect them.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. So then you start to follow your highest ideal. You become wise enough to follow what you're supposed to do.
They like become one.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the unification of all those things, right?
Yeah.
And you actually naturally do the right thing. Cool. Because you think that's the best idea.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have an internal struggle. At the moment, most people have an internal struggle. They've got the right thing to do. Yeah. They've got their little bit of wisdom, and they may not be grown enough to learn to do the right thing. And they've got what the mind is saying. And the mind naturally tends towards these things up here. lust, anger, pride, greed, attachment, because
Yeah.
it's not yet been trained.
Yeah.
The mind can
Your
be trained.
automatic reaction
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah. Because in the world, like for example, like you know people that watch all these soaps, like TV programs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. So they have now in England. There's a couple of shows that are like EastEnders, for example. They are all about people being angry at each other. Two people, when they get into an argument, they cannot talk to each other. They just shout at each other. And it's like the worst example to set to people, because when they see that, that becomes what I talked about, their ideal.
Interesting.
That becomes the ideal, and it also becomes part of their own wisdom.
Yeah.
And they think that's how I should react to
Instead
anger.
of the ideal
So
being-
the husband comes home, or the wife comes home, and she's like, oh, why don't you wash up your own dishes? So the guy thinks, now I'm being attacked. You know, that fight or flight?
Yeah.
And instead of saying, oh,
I'm gonna fight back.
yeah, instead of saying, oh, forget it, I can't deal with you, walk off.
Yeah.
Or, and what about you last time you left your clothes on the floor?
Yeah.
That's the attack. Or the guy could say, you know what, I forgot. So sorry, I just forgot to wash the dishes. I'll do it now. Is there an argument now?
Yeah.
No.
No,
Woman's
there
looking
can't
for an
be.
argument.
Yeah.
There can't be, right? So this is when you refine your reactions,
Yeah.
right? So this is all about introspection, right? So basically what Guru is saying, your mind is the most powerful thing you have. Reform it, make it go the right way, and you'll be so successful. And the other thing is that the fourth things, right? So you got your, and then there's your level of, where is your surt, like where are you focusing? So on a day-to-day basis, like like a mind like wandering here, wandering there.
Right.
So where is that mind?
Like when
So this
you
is like,
meditate, you
yeah,
have
so
to be very,
right,
like,
so that's where the
focused.
Buddhism idea of mindfulness comes in, right?
Yeah.
So that you actually keep your focus on what?
On nothingness.
No.
In a way.
No, because Buddhism has no God, right? So they focus on
I
nothing.
see, that's
What do we
why.
have?
Yeah, true.
We have the idea of God's name.
Tell, that's
the
the kind of
connection.
meditation I
The connection. No,
Yeah.
you know the emptiness meditation? That's all right to clear your mind of all the stuff that's going to throw up at you.
Yeah.
What about putting something in?
Like to progress it.
Yeah, but the experience of God is so powerful. Like, give you an example, right? If I touch fire, my hand's going to get burnt. Put my hand in cold water, it's going to get cold. What do you think, Marie, is going to happen if you experience God? Like, give me an example. Like, what would that be like? Because obviously, God, if God has an essence,
I don't know.
if God has an essence, and you
Yeah.
touch that essence, you experience that essence, what's that experience going to be like? What do you think? Can you imagine anything?
I honestly I can imagine so many different
Okay.
enlightening in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
enlightening.
Like centering.
So you get like suddenly like awareness of what's going on around you, right? But also
Perspective, I
perspective. Yeah, exactly. But also, the most powerful thing is you get so much bliss.
Huh.
God's like totally carefree, yeah. God's supremely
the
blissful.
chillest.
He ain't got no enemies to worry about. He's all powerful. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
All
that's a
powerful.
really good
No
point.
one gets him.
Yeah.
He gets everybody, right?
Yeah.
So he's always in bliss. He's enjoying this. And you
Yeah.
know, like when you look at something really beautiful and you're like, wow. Do you ever get those kind of like tingles on the back of your neck?
Yeah.
Or your hair stands up on
Yeah,
your
the
arm?
hair stands up
Yeah?
on the back of your neck.
See that's at the beginning of that. That just means your spirit center is already activating, right? Because where's the spinal column? It's coming up here. Where's it leading up to? Here. And that's the center I talked about earlier, right? These guys, it's the 10th
the
dome.
mind opening.
Yeah. So basically,
So
the experience is blissful. It's supremely blissful, and lets you give up all the other stuff. You know, the drugs, alcohol, the kind of like
The things that we do to temporarily give ourselves
a
that
bit of
kind
bliss. We look for that little bit of bliss because we're fed up with the mundane life. But the problem is those bliss tend to be what? They tend to be expensive. You get in trouble with the law.
and they're
You
temporary.
and temporary. You get a headache the next day, right? And then all this kind of stuff. But if you get the bliss of a spiritual connection, you're never stressed.
Yeah.
You're walking like I'm talking to you now. I can feel it right now because I'm talking about the great. So I'm sitting here and I'm like getting slightly high just talking to you.
Wow.
Yeah? Not just
That's awesome.
yeah, it's amazing. But why is that? Because like I'm connecting to truth.
Yeah.
And God is truth. God is love.
Yeah.
And it's like all those things you dreamed about, like love, happiness, bliss, it's all coming along at the same time, and you feel overwhelmed because it's so powerful.
I really like the steps that you take, the progression
Yeah,
that you talked
yeah.
about, like the 4 areas of
Yeah,
the
you go-
of
yeah, the-
mindfulness.
yeah,
that
yeah.
first there's the reactive, and then
Yeah.
I just had a friend outline it for me once. That if you want to change something about yourself,
Yeah, yeah,
right? If
yeah.
you want to become further enlightened, she was. Shoot, I can't remember. It's a sect of Hinduism, but I can't remember what it's called. But the first step is to realize that you need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
change something,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
The second step is to
like-
after you react in the way that you don't like to react,
Yeah.
say, okay, well, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Next time I'm gonna try and change it.
Exactly.
Or like I'm gonna identify that I didn't like that.
Right, right.
And the next step is like once you do that enough times, maybe before you react, you'll have like a better
Yeah. You know what that's
reaction
called?
to it.
You know what that's called? Habit forming.
Yeah.
That's
there
what
we
it's called.
go.
It's called habit forming,
I
right?
should know that.
And all that is about doing something for long enough that it becomes your normal thing.
Yeah.
You know, like they say, willpower is easy to make, easy to break. Like, I'm going to give up cigarettes tomorrow. Somebody says, yeah. The next day they start smoking again. They had their will, easy to make the will, I'm going to stop it. Next day it breaks as
Easy
well.
to break.
Right? But with habits, hard to make, hard to break. Yeah? And that's the way it
Make
works. Right?
mindfulness a habit.
So mindfulness, not just mindfulness, reacting to things in the right way. Yeah? Leaving these things behind. Like initially society is training young men nowadays to look at porn. Right? It's training them from like 10, 11-year-olds.
Culture, yeah.
Yeah, the whole culture is misogynist, right?
Yeah.
It's training you, and nowadays this stuff is getting worse and worse. It's more and more misogynist,
Yeah.
right?
It
So
builds on
therefore,
itself.
right. So the people are now having a dissonance. The world is this way, but this stuff is fake. Where they're watching that so much, right? So what happens is their wisdom changes. This becomes their wisdom, right?
The
Then-
virtual world.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
the world is training us to do the wrong thing. What the Guru's training seeks to do is to think the right way from a young age. So what he says is, you know what, don't even look at another woman. Your wife, fine. But do not even look at another woman as beautiful. And you know what, he goes even further, not even in your dreams. Now you think, how can you control your dreams, right? You know that thing we talked about? You can. You know that sur?
Yeah.
I talked about the consciousness?
Yeah.
When you start to become more and more conscious of what you're doing all the time, that consciousness comes inside your dreams.
Yeah.
In your dream, you're like, what am I doing?
So that's what you're learning. It's
Exactly.
like how your memory
It's powerful, the
formed.
brain,
Yeah.
it's how powerful the brain. So
Yeah.
the Guru is like, you can leave this stuff behind. You can leave lust and anger and greed and attachment. And it's just about habitually leaving them
Yeah.
until and then you become strong enough to leave it all the time.
But what if you identify everyone as beautiful?
No, that's
that
from a
different?
spiritual level.
Oh,
That's
okay.
because you're never
You
gonna
mean,
fit
like beautiful in like a sexual
from a spirit.
kind
Yeah,
of-
yeah. I'm talking about that. So yeah. So I'm not talking about it like a thing. So he's like, look upon her body as beautiful. It's not really talking about the soul. Yeah. It's
Right,
not. It's
I
not that thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So obviously, Guru is saying, be friends with everybody. One of the quotes he gives us is like, I have no enemies. I'm with everybody. So like for us, God has two main qualities that come up in the first statement. Like if you open up the text, the very first paragraph it's about God. And what it says is that the one with a sound created everything. That's the very first thing it says. So you know like where you come from. There was the one, singularity. There was a sound, which we say is Om. That's the sound. It wasn't a bang. Not Om, it's Om.
Own.
It goes in, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So, and it's not, it wasn't a boom or a bang. It was a Om. Yeah?
Interesting.
And then that made everything.
Peaceful.
And then this is the truth that we've come from. We've come from the one. And you and I know, like scientifically, that everything in our body right now is cosmic dust, right? It
I
was,
want to believe that.
no, but it's true, right? Scientifically, it's
I
true.
guess,
yeah?
yeah, true.
Everything here on Earth was once in the sun, because everything came from the sun. Earth broke off from the sun,
True.
started going around the
Yeah.
sun. Then
So
on top of
nothing
that,
is really created or destroyed.
and then the sun wasn't around before. The sun was only formed, so there was no solar system. So all that happened is that there was a big bang, and every single particle that exists now came from the big bang, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
we're
guess
cosmic dust.
So we are cosmic dust.
But where we come from? From the singularity. So where are we going to go back to? The singularity. Right? We have
I mean,
to.
that would make sense,
There's no.
right?
We've come from there. We've got to go
Full
back.
circle?
Yeah, full circle. And that is a mantra. Ik oankar, ik oankar.
like that.
One made the sound, made everything, and we have to go back to the ik. And this is the truth, they say. And the way to connect is by calling God. Imagine, what would be the simplest way to connect to God? You want to meet someone? What's the simplest way to meet somebody?
By just getting right into it.
Just calling them.
And I see.
Like, so we're sitting
I
at-
thought you meant like to get to know somebody.
Yeah, yeah. But what's the simplest way? It's just to call them. You're sitting in a room. You want to meet somebody.
I
They're,
see.
they're on the other
Or
side.
you want to like see someone you know.
Yeah, you just call them on the phone, but you could also just call them. Then they come in front of you.
Yeah.
So like if I walk into a friend,
Like
or a
my
group-
mom always
let's say,
does
like, so
for
you
dinner.
so you go into a room and everybody's there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you like there's 10 people there.
Yeah.
And you want to call that one person. You just say their name, they'll get up and come to you, right? So
Yeah,
you-
generally.
so if they like you, right? We believe that's what we should do.
It's called.
This Waheguru. That's a name, the Guru's mantra for God. He says just call God. Just wake up really early in the morning, before everybody else is up in the house. No one's bothering you. Ain't no one gonna bother you at 5 a.m. Trust me. They don't care what you're doing.
hope
Get
no
up,
one else is up at 5 a.m. honestly.
get up in the morning. The Guru says you wake up at 3, right?
Oh wow.
3 hours before sunrise. The sunrise is at 6. So it's wake up before. So the meditation is always early in the morning.
I see.
But this, okay,
Kinda
there's an ideal, right? We're
Yeah.
talking about the ideal.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's what we can try and do.
Yeah.
So if we can't start at 3, we can start at 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at that time, no one's going to bother you.
That's really nice.
It's a really peaceful time.
Yeah.
Birds are chirping, sun's about to
Yeah.
come up, no one's already awake, everybody's
Yeah.
sleeping. In that time, if you call God, it's so powerful, Marie. Happened to me when I was 21.
Yeah.
I used to smoke weed, drink. I used to go out clubbing, raving. I came to Vancouver when I was like 18. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Well, I found around with my friends and I messed around here. You know, went to. And the thing is when I was 21, I met these bunch of Sikhs. And they were like, let's just chant. One guy got a guitar out. I'm sitting there and they start singing Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. And I was like, you know, why should I just join in? I'm just sitting here. I might as well join in, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, Vaheguru. And suddenly, like, I had this experience.
Whoa.
And I was like, what's this? No one told me I'm going to have an experience of God. I didn't even know that Sikhs meditated. Yeah? I was confused.
Yeah,
And
what
it's,
is
it's, it's a very overwhelming experience. You lose yourself. Because you feel overwhelmed. Like, what are you to God? Imagine, we're like, okay, here's two of us,
Yeah,
right?
what's
In Vancouver, right?
Yeah.
How big is Vancouver in the university, right? In this university, we're so small, right?
Yeah.
Then in the whole of Vancouver, we're so small. Then go back out, and this little blue dot in a solar system, and then look how big, billions of galaxies. Just one Milky Way has got billions of solar systems. Imagine how big the whole universe is.
Yeah.
So we're just a tiny little dot. So imagine the one that made all of that with one word, with just Om. How powerful is that one going to be, right? Yeah. And then when you experience that one, you become totally overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's a lot to take in. Yeah. And that experience, when I had that experience once, I was like, I need more of that.
That was
What-
great.
I was like, that was amazing. I need some more of that. And that's when I went to camp. There was a meditation. There was a retreat. Every morning from like 4 to 5, they would chant Waheguru for 1 hour. And that whole week just changed my life. Because I couldn't deny it. Like the truth was there. It works. I can connect. Yeah? So
Yeah.
for me, I was like, I have to follow this. I can't now go back to drugs and alcohol and messing around. That makes no sense. I've just, like I said to you about your
No, you're
personal,
going back.
your personal wisdom increases now. You have to incorporate this experience into it.
Yeah.
Then you're stuck. You have to do something about it. And then your consciousness wants to go back to that. So your consciousness could be anywhere, but it wants to go to that experience.
Yeah.
So the Guru is like, take your consciousness, focus it upon the words, chant the mantra, yeah? Then get the mind to quieten down, because the mind's going to throw loads of crazy thoughts up, right? Then take the Guru's wisdom. We talked about the wisdom,
Yeah, that
right?
ideal, yeah.
And then with this way, you build your personal wisdom, and hopefully your personal wisdom will say, you know, that is right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's all about the
Hopefully
mind.
it does.
And actually the Guru says if you beat your mind, if you conquer your mind, you conquer the world. Because imagine like we've had examples in our
I
past.
mean, one of the most powerful forces in the world, arguably,
Yeah,
is the human mind.
And I'll give you an example. There was once a guy in our history, by Mani Singh Ji, and he faced a problem. He was going to be captured by them. He was captured by the Mughal kingdom, and they said to him, convert to Islam or we'll chop you, limb joint by joint. He was like, that doesn't bother me.
Okay.
Yeah, because why? When you meditate, you connect with your soul. Then you realize your body is just a cloth. You've had many cloths before. It's like you don't care about the clothes you gave away 2 years ago, do you?
Sometimes I have
Some-
second thoughts, but
But
I'm just
you know what I
kidding.
mean, you know? Like, well, the clothes we take off, we just forget them. So this soul has been here for how long? 13.4 billion years.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Is
And
the idea
it's gone
to,
through
like,
so-
remember those past lives?
No, you don't have to,
Oh, okay.
because it's like excess information. You don't need it,
Okay.
right? You don't need to know how the iPhone works,
But the wisdom.
just as long as the iPhone works. No, they'll come automatically. You've come here with your past life already sorted out.
already in.
All you have to do is connect. The aim is to connect. Just do the main thing first.
Yeah.
And you will start to remember your past lives. You will. That's just like, as you increase your awareness, as you increase that connection, you will just get more, like you'll understand. Like I know a friend of mine started to see ghosts. So he started to see things that weren't seen by the normal person. Another friend of mine, he started to see people's past lives and their future.
Whoa.
Yeah? And then he was like, I don't want this power. It was too much. So he got rid of that power, because the problem that happens in our mind is that we start thinking we are getting that knowledge from ourselves. And there goes the humility out the window.
Right. That
The point to remember is that
point,
He is the one who's giving us this.
Interesting.
And it's just like imagine you are living on one side of a door, and there is a glass door, and it's just full of dirt, just caked in dirt, and you couldn't see what was on the other side.
Yeah.
And you start scraping away every day, meditating,
Yeah.
rubbing away, purifying the mind,
Yeah.
focusing the mind upon the right thing,
Like
and you start to see a little bit of light, right?
Yeah.
And then slowly, if you make that bigger and bigger, you start to get access to more information what's on the other side.
I see.
And that's all meditation is. You just open up yourself to so much more information.
Interesting.
We only see a little percentage of what's out there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we believe there is an unseen world, but the most powerful thing that exists is God's name. And you know when we die, everybody dies, right? Everybody regrets not connecting to God. The saints, they connected to God, they wish they connected even more. Yeah?
It's like, really? How
This-
do you
the-
know this?
no,
Okay.
the sinners, they regret it even more because they realize the power of what they gave up. Because
Yeah.
that lottery ticket I told you about, it's in your pocket, you're a human being. This is the chance to connect. This is your turn to connect. And you can imagine, like, I'll be honest with you, like, you're listening to me for a while, so I feel like I should tell you this, yeah?
Huh?
Like, you don't know how much inside you there is so much pain for God. I know when I started meditating, I started crying so much. Why? Because the soul is yearning for God, right? And as you purify, you will start to cry for God. And you'll be sitting there early morning and there'll be tears streaming down your eyes. You'll be in so much bliss of happiness and joy and crying at the same time. All because you've come from Him and you've left Him alone, you've forgotten Him, right? And that experience is way too powerful, man. And like you can feel it now, like
I've seen it too.
yeah. And like the thing is it's not about religion, it's about God.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
And
well,
people
totally.
forget.
No,
People
I mean,
forget.
Yeah, I've seen people go through the process you described for totally different religions.
There's
but
no religion.
Well, right. I think
There's only
that
God.
It's just that
Yeah.
that force. That,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. It's all around us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giving way, I guess, in a way,
Yeah.
or like letting in.
Yeah,
of
yeah. Just open
whatever
up.
it
Just
is.
you know the boundaries we create around ourselves. Just
Yeah.
let go of those boundaries. That's actually submission. Just to let go, and let the power come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all a Sikh is trying to do.
the
It's just
kind
like
That's the kind
Go
of
b-
submission
go back
you
to-
need,
yeah.
not the submission to
yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about.
powers that
I know.
be.
Yeah. And go kill people and stuff. Yeah. So the word Islam actually means submission. So although we're not Muslim, we understand what real submission is
No, and
because you see
Islam is
this bit
actually a
here.
Beautiful religion.
See this bit here? So this, why do we need a guru? Because we're all around, we're surrounded by the one. He is the one, that's the one, number one, yeah? And the ego is what's keeping us separate.
Ah, the
And
glass. I
so if we
see.
break the glass, then the water will come in. And the guru is a bit like this wave that comes in and fills you up so you become one.
I see.
Yeah? He's there to guide you.
Gets through.
Yeah.
Gets
And he
through
breaks the
whole
ego
mess.
down because it's very hard to give yourself to a God because we don't know what God looks like. When you see a godly person, like I told you, the guru, he saved, he made a mosque, you know, he saved Hinduism. When you look at those examples, I can't, me personally, when I read about the ninth guru giving up like his life to save Hinduism,
Yeah,
so the sixth guru made a mosque.
That was awesome.
Okay,
yeah.
but the ninth guru, a lot of Hindus came to him to ask him for help because at that time, the Mughal king, Aurangzeb, he was a tyrant. He was trying to convert everybody to Islam. And he had a plan, let me convert all the heads of the Hindu faith. So these are the pundits, the kind of priests. So he went out there to convert them. And they came to the ninth guru to ask for help. And the guru said at that time, look, someone's going to have to give their life to save you. So he basically said, I'll do it. His son said, you should do it, right? And he went up and he issued a challenge. If you can convert me, you can convert everybody, Sikhs and Muslims. But if you can't convert me, you have to leave them alone. And in 1675,
Wow.
he was taken to Delhi, and there in front of him, 3 of his Sikhs were tortured to death. One of them was sawn in half, one of them was boiled alive, another one was wrapped in cotton wool and burnt. And then they said, like, it's your chance now to convert. And he goes, I won't. Then they actually beheaded him right there. But this is the first
That
example
seems
of like
nice
a prophet.
relative to the other things they did to
Yeah.
those people.
Well, it's the first time that a head of a faith has given his head for somebody of
Literally.
another faith, to
Yeah,
follow their
that's a
faith.
good point.
And I was sitting there as a youth philosophy student, I was like, you know what, Voltaire might have said that I will defend to death your right to practice your belief, but he didn't give his life, but the Guru did. And I was like, they set the example, man.
Yeah,
And I was
true.
like, I have to follow
It's
this.
all words until
I have
you
to follow
actually
it.
do
You know, I was like,
yeah.
you know, like, I can't think of anybody who's more righteous, more compassionate, more giving, and more able to transcend the human boundaries that we have. So when we meditate, the soul actually sometimes disconnects from the body as well. And you
Yeah.
feel disassociated from the body. That's trying to make you understand that it's actually just a cloth. And that by when he's saying he was going to be chopped from limb to limb,
And he didn't care.
And he was like, you know what? You know when they said to him that the joint, the executioner was going to start here, right? He was like, hold on, bro. My first joint is there.
Yeah.
And he goes, follow your order. I'm following my guru's order. You follow your order. Start here.
That is my first joint.
And the guy was like, I'm trying to kill you, but you're killing me. You know?
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's like,
Smart.
yeah. But then the thing is, it's transcending. It's like
Yeah.
showing people that, you know what, this body is not real.
Yeah.
And how are we going to believe that unless somebody does it for us and shows it? Yeah.
We
Otherwise,
are
we'll.
so afraid of
Yeah.
like our bodies.
Yeah.
We're
But it's just
so
it's just
interested in
dust.
that.
It literally is dust. If you leave me in a corner
Dust.
and don't feed me, don't do anything to me, I
You
will actually turn
probably
to dust.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go back to where I
Gross.
came from, right?
Yeah.
And the soul will go on to where it's come from. Yeah, hopefully. Or come back again.
Or
There's a whole
Do you
bit.
believe that all souls have started from the beginning of time, or that like they're like?
You know
other
what?
souls
We don't
could
worry
be
about that too
older
much.
than- oh,
Yeah, we don't worry about that. You know why? Because like we don't have the answer to that.
Yeah. Okay. True.
We have limited vision, right? We've got to scrape away.
But like, aren't there
and-
people with like old souls? You
No,
know?
there are people that have got souls that are more connected to the truth,
Oh,
and therefore they feel like old souls. It's like wisdom. There was a guy in Guru Nanak Dev Ji's time. He was a young child. We call him old man, but he was a child when he met the first Guru. And what happened is there was a fire being burning, and the Guru was sitting by the fire, and the little sticks were burning very quickly. And the big sticks take a long time to burn. So he says to the Guru, "You said everybody's going to die, and that Kaljug, the world, the fire of the desires and stuff, it's like a fire, and it burns us up." And he goes, "But I'm such a little stick compared to the big sticks out there." He goes, "Surely I'll burn even faster. I'm scared."
Yeah.
And the Guru said, "You know, you have the wisdom of an old person." So he was then
the
called.
wisdom of a big stick.
Yeah. So he was called Baba Buddhaji. He lived to 125 years old.
Wow.
He lived all the way to the 6th Guru,
Wow.
and he was like the continuing force through all the Gurus, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and it makes sense. This desire is a figment
Fire.
of our mind.
It's a fire.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's a fire of our
It doesn't
mind.
exist in the
It's
world.
not gonna-
It doesn't exist in the
yeah.
world. You can't touch your desire for
Right.
anything. It's
So
not there.
The only thing it could burn
It's
is
the
your
yeah,
mind.
yeah. Because of those things that we have, the 5 things.
Create a big mind
Yeah.
so you can
Strong mind.
connect strong mind.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a muscle, and they tell you the brain is a muscle.
Yes.
We just don't train it the right way. It goes all the way. We just chase money,
we don't know
chase.
how to. We don't. I mean,
The Gurus told us how to fix your consciousness. Start to read the Guru's
I
wisdom.
guess that's true.
The way Guru's wisdom becomes your wisdom. Experience the divine, and what I just said to you, the 4 things. Just follow the 4-stage process, and you'll fix the mind.
Stage process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's. I mean,
We have to go to a talk. If you're free now, come to the talk. We've got a talk from now till 6 at the SU. Sikh Student Association.
Like right now.
Okay, all right, no problem.
Like the next 15 minutes.
Okay,
So.
so you can't come.
But thank you.
check us out on YouTube. There's like 700 videos up there, or 800. So we have a YouTube channel called Base of Sikhi. Are you talking to me now? Like, there's loads of videos online. Yeah, check it out.
Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru.